Part 5. Part 5. Jesus Activation. The most important part of this event was it was a Jesus-activated event. He actuated or manufactured this dream, having me crying and not being able to stop, bringing me to my knees, and he enters the scene using a mysterious, concealed, unrecognizable force, all through which he allowed my heart to recognize him, and then laughs through his introductory appearance in letting me know it was only him. What a character! No one could have done it better. I didn't know he was also a jokester, as well as King of the Universe. These are the reasons we love him so much. He is all things and everything. We give him so little and get so much in return. We only give him our souls, and in return we receive the keys to the universe and all things within. The feeling of completeness in happiness and joy lasted for over 2 weeks after my exposure with him. I remember being at my desk at work, remembering the activities of the previous night, reclaiming certain events over again, and immediately the entire experience was upon me, clenching my hands and my heart as the event emerged and released its presence, with tears flowing, trying to control this burst of energy throughout my body. I had to say, no, 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 not here, not now, and at event. Allowing me control again. Marivic, a previous relationship, and I were out with some of her friends, people I had never previously met, were responding, as we had been friends for a while. Jesus had left his spirit with me, with people being able to identify and interact with me through his spirit. Anytime I wanted to regenerate the experience of the night with Jesus, all I had to do was to reminisce those occurrences, and I was back. Well, after 2 weeks, it became a little less and more controllable. In this new life in heaven, we can be all we wanted to be on earth. There will be no restrictions on your behavior or actions, as there will not be any sin, as it will be totally eliminated, with no one to remind us of sin. The enemy will not be present or represented, which will give man the freedom and the truth he deprived from him, affecting his decisions and misdirecting his life. The earth will be renovated into a new earth. Whatever changes you want to make with your body, both physical and emotional, as your body will be transformed into body of dreams. Regardless, whether there is homelessness, loneliness, or illness, heaven will fill all your needs and much more. A lasting departure. Nevertheless, he came back in 5 years, March 2006, he made an audio appearance around 5:00 am. Before continuing, Jesus never appeared to me in the 3 times of our interactions. My friends from Toronto, Gratian and his wife, were down for a visit. On this occasion, he had another message, but before he told me, he had me rolling under my bed, with me exclaiming, "How come you love me so much?" The tears were flowing with a new abundance of exhilaration, pleasure, and gladness, more than the previous times. Before he left, he said, "I want you to apologize to Justina, my ex-wife." Initially, I was wondering why, but you don't tell Jesus, no, you only obey. So, I said, okay. I immediately called her and told her I wanted to apologize for all the things I had done to her while we were married. For the time I had an affair, and sometimes the way I had treated her. I barely was able to finish, as the tears flowed uncontrollable. She accepted my apology and said to call her back, as she was on her way to work. A unique and real experience. It has been 17 years since our last audio interaction, but on occasions, I can still feel the remnants of those encounters, as they always come with tears. Those were such joyous occasions, unbelievable emotions, with incredible moments of intense love, without the presence of any undesirable, deleterious, or pessimistic occurrence. This is exactly how heaven will be for those having given their lives to Jesus, only the emotions will be greater, as I was only able to endure the tolerances of this body, as it had maxed out its potential of happiness. Jesus has much more love to bestow upon his children, however, it will only be available in heaven. As you give him more of you, the more there is to understand, regarding our planet and its history. Maybe we cannot improve, but we can save for people, which is all that God commands us in doing. He made the process easy, determining who has access to heaven, but the living is hard. All we need to do is tell people, he is real, which could ignite a belief in him and his righteous, including salvation. All the things he allowed me to feel was more real than this life. I was under the impression this life we all experience every day was all there was, but it is not. I knew the experience in heaven would be different, but not the extent I was shown. The life with Jesus is much more real than this everyday experience we have working, supporting a household, driving, experience with people, in all we do. The level of reality with Jesus has more of a foundation in reality, authenticity, and actuality. It provides more options for things that are not feasibility or applicable in this life in conceding a further truth, seemingly more plausible. I realize this may sound a little extreme, but until Jesus sanctions a visit in his domain, it will all be verified and authenticated as the truth. In trying to explain this occurrence, this event is a vindication in itself and a reasonable explanation of the word real. The entire event was more real, or the most real event that I have experienced in my life. He defined his existence by using this entire event as a guideline. The initial episode depicting the manner he entered my body, the feelings, emotions and sensations I felt in his presence and his voice, seemingly, as a trickly stream or brook, and finally informing me and telling people, he is real. The entire meeting exceeds the limits of ordinary everyday are events we experience each day, identifying each day as real. Every occasion of every day we categorize as real. However, this event was not a mere everyday occurrence, it was characterized as being tangible, authentic and absolute, more genuine than any other day in my entire life, because Jesus was with me. This event was not an ordinary event in my life. It was an unexplored, unequivocal event occurring only when God has a desire to communicate a message and entertain. Words cannot represent the sentiments and excitement I felt that early morning, depriving me of an experience I cannot fully explain using words. However, the experience only validates, corroborates and substantiates. Jesus is real, more real than any other person I have met in the flesh. Jesus never needed to authenticate his existence, I have always believed in him. So, I guess this was just an affirmation. Before this visit, I had no idea what was the definition for real. He established an identity by allowing this experience to be established, therefore, defining what was real in his world. So, in asking me to tell people, he is real, the conditions had already been established for in defining this for others to understand. His domain in on a higher plateau, permitting each participant a greater understanding of reality and the precepts thereof. Each element resides in a higher echelon of life, enabling exploration of the uppermost level of existence. This is what I was allowed to experience. This displayed the brilliance of Jesus defined in a way that it took me 22 years to express and comprehend in writing a compelling narrative for others to understand and enjoy the brilliance and cleverness of Jesus. It is great being in the company of excellence, and better in knowing he is always with you, forever. Wow, what an experience that continues giving rewards, after all these years. Summary.